Now from the Weather Tracker TV Storm Studios, this is your weather today. Here's Chief Meteorologist William Cole.
All right, folks, here we go. Right out of the gate on this back to work Monday. Again, hopefully it's starting off well for you. It was humid and it was very mild out the door this morning. In fact, even a little bit of ground fog around the area as well. But believe it or not, as we go through the afternoon, yes, a daytime high of 92. We've got a dry line. It's going to be mixing through the area. And even though it's very, we'll call it mild and humid out there this morning, it's going to be drier, meaning less humid this afternoon. And it's going to be, well, we can just call it hot again with that daytime high around 92. By the way, notice that 20% probability. We may have, it's a conditional opportunity, but we may have a thunderstorm or two that tries to develop late this afternoon along the dry line. If it were to develop, there may be an opportunity of some severe weather with that. We'll talk about that coming up. Of course, also, we had the severe weather yesterday evening. Team of trackers, phenomenal job. Patrice Brown also in studio yesterday, all doing a phenomenal job, of course, as we had that extended severe weather coverage. We also appreciate you folks out there watching that as well. But can you see where the dry line was? This was earlier this morning. These were your actual morning lows. Look at the drier air out to the west. The reason I say that is because the temperatures are cooler, right? Dry air cools easier, humid air not so much, right? So that's why a lot of us were in the 60s. Again, humid, muggy out the door. But again, if you live out in the Graham area, even out towards Breckenridge, again, you had the 40s, you had the 50s out the door this morning. So the storm system that came through yesterday evening, Sunday, that again brought us that quick hit of severe weather, that's now well off to the east. In fact, it's over in the deep south, ongoing tornado watches, even a couple of tornado warning polygons I saw earlier today as well. All that active weather, of course, continues to pull away. For us today, even in the parts of tomorrow, you see the little black line there. That is the dry line. And again, like I mentioned, it separates that warm, moist, unstable air from bone-dry desert air. You can see it kind of mixing through the area as we go through the day. And again, behind it, the drier air, it's going to warm easier. Temperatures are going to take off. And because of that, there are some fire danger concerns as we go through the afternoon, mainly out in our western counties. If you live out there, heads up to any type of potential grass fire danger. And again, also keep in mind, any outdoor burning today would be strongly discouraged in our western counties. Similar colors, but look at what we're dealing with here. This would be an opportunity of severe weather. Now, before we get too taken away from this or taken back by this, keep in mind this is what we call a conditional risk. And again, truly, this is about a 20% opportunity in the area of red of potentially seeing a storm or two. But the bottom line is, if a storm or two does form, yes, it does have the real opportunity of being severe. Large hail would be a concern. And again, the opportunity of gusty wind as it does begin to diminish after sunset. There's a very low wind tornado probability. We'll track that carefully, but right now does not appear to be much of a tornadic concern. But again, that's something we'll track carefully. Of course, it is that time of year after all. Here's what the model does. The model is trying to develop activity off the dry line. Again, the very latest run of the model, keep in mind this will continue to change through the day, trying to develop something down around Hamilton County. And again, you can see from Erath County, maybe back over towards Johnson County as we go through the late afternoon and the evening. The bottom line is anywhere in the red, there would be that 20% opportunity of, again, a couple of these thunderstorms bubbling up, and then after sunset they go away. Simply put, that's all she wrote. And we're quiet overnight. We're quiet through most of the day tomorrow, but take a look by late afternoon tomorrow. Similar story. We'll try and bubble up a couple of thunderstorms. Tomorrow the atmosphere is going to be a little more primed for activity. And again, as those storms are pulling away, if they do form tomorrow, as they're pulling away over towards the Arklatex in the parts of Arkansas, there's going to be a greater opportunity of severe weather there. So the Storm Prediction Center has a severe to a more likely opportunity of severe weather. So like I mentioned, as stuff pulls away tomorrow, it will be in a strengthening phase, and there could be some pretty intense weather in the Arklatex over in the parts of Arkansas tomorrow as well. Otherwise, look at this. No, we're not in May, we're not in June, but we've got temperatures in the 90s. Our record for today is 95. We're not going to be too far off. I don't think we're going to break it, but we'll have to watch that temperature trend through the afternoon pretty quickly here locally in the Metroplex. 20% opportunity there in the green. Again, that's late afternoon heading into the evening. For any kind of evening plan, still that 20% probability, but look at your evening temperatures. We're not talking about 60s, we're not talking about 70s. It's going to feel more like summer, right? Evening temperatures there in the 80s. Night, we're basically back down into the 60s, and then as we go through tomorrow, Tuesday, temperatures back in the 80s, behind the dry line out west, temperatures in the 90s. More coming up.